Hey everybody, Happy New Year. We're here for drill number 13, so lucky number 13. And one of the things we've been faced with a little bit is some different weather. The wind has been kind of moving the ball. We've had a little bit more precipitation here with some of these storms. So one of the things we wanted to do is really talk about kind of how to handle that. There's some general guidelines, some general rules that we want to think about. One is if it's really wet, the ball's going to be heavier, and there's going to be rain or snow coming down. We need to make those kind of adjustments where if the ball's hydroplaning, we need to move back a little bit more. If the ball is heavier, we have to make an adjustment on that, probably moving back again. So those are some of the adjustments we make with a heavy ball. When it's raining or sleeting or snowing, we want to get our lobs up to make them look into the snow, into the rain, make them freeze their eyeballs, and really have trouble with vision. So lobs become very important in this context. So when there's precipitation, those are some of the changes that you have to make with the wet ball, wet court. And if they are serving, you probably want to move back a little bit, as I was saying, and get lower so you can have that chance to get the ball back, especially if it's hydroplaning. Generally, you just want to get it back. So lobbing it is your best bet. There's really no thought of trying to drive for winners or anything along those lines. You want to lob and get that thing back there. And then when you're talking about serves, put enough on that serve that it slides and makes it tough on them. So keep that in mind as well. From the serving side, from the returning side, we've got to get into the points. So important. Now, when we talk about like wind, that is a big conversation because we had a really windy day this past Thursday, and we were finding that the ball was moving several feet in the air, which was making it really hard on the overheaders. So even a not so great lob meant we were mishitting some of the balls if you didn't really move your feet. So some of the key points there are don't not lob, make sure you do lob, because sometimes people get scared it's going to go out. Okay, well, know which way the wind is going and lob so that the wind blows it into the court. Okay, and obviously you're going to switch sides, so then when you're on the other side, it's going to you have to lob to the other quadrant so it blows back into the court that way. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're doing the lobs, is use them. Even bad lobs work because it makes people move their feet, which is, on the flip side, the answer to hitting good overheads. The answer to hitting good overheads is really make sure that you are moving your feet like crazy, because you're going to have to adjust to the ball really being unpredictable. And the funny part is, just in general, even if it was a great day, we probably should be moving our feet more anyway. However, even with the wind or with the wind, that is an especially important time to really move our feet to make that last minute adjustment as they make those lobs and they get moved around. If you are playing with someone and you have a stronger serve than they do, probably you want to serve into the wind, because the wind's going to slow it down and knock it down, and you don't really want to give your opponent a weak serve being knocked down by the wind where they can just rip their returns past you. So generally you have your stronger server serve into the wind, because you already know they're going to lose some miles per hour in that situation. When you are the person serving with the wind at your back, use a little more spin so you can bring that ball down. So spin brings the ball down. You've got extra weight from the wind. So you don't need power, you need in, and you need spin to bring it down in. Also with drive, same idea. You want the spin to bring the ball into the court when you have the wind behind you. You've got the extra oomph of the wind, so use that spin to bring it down. And when you are hitting into the wind, obviously you can hit it much harder, and on a serve, same thing, you can swing through it a little bit harder. In fact, you have to, or it's not really going to do what you want it to do. You can aim higher over the net also. That's a great plan on drives and on serves. Aim a little higher because the wind is knocking it down. That's when you're serving into the wind. When we talk about screens, same thing. Keep varying the pace on the screens just like you normally would, but understand that with the wind, that also keeps them off balance. So more wind, get it to a screen, sometimes hard, sometimes soft. That makes even more indecision on your opponent's part. And when you're the person getting the screens and you're getting them, that goes back to the very first thing we talked about, which is really footwork. Move your feet more, expect the unexpected, be ready to do whatever it takes to get that ball back, but you're going to stay low and move your feet like crazy. as you talk about screens. A heavier ball does not jump out as much. So if you're talking about now going back to the precipitation idea, the ball doesn't jump as far out. So you got to be ready to handle that. It's a heavier ball, therefore you got to lift it higher on your lobs. So there's a lot of things on the screens we've got to remember when that ball gets heavy, when there's wind involved. We've got to move our feet and get that lob up there and hit it a little bit harder. I think we covered everything. So good luck to everybody.